Hey, 7th graders, welcome to 6.3. Today we're going to talk about the percent equation. And in the percent equation, this is just another way or another method that I give you or that the book gives you to solve percent problems. Our learning target for the day is I can write equations to represent percent problems. And in our key idea right away, you're given the percent equation. Okay, the percent equation is A equals P times W, where A is the part, just like it was last section. P is the percent times W is the whole. Okay, so kind of similar to last section, where we're using the same terminology, the same abbreviations. A is still the part, P is the percent, and W is the whole. And we're going to look at a lot of situations where we're trying to find the part, or we're trying to find the percent, or we're trying to find the whole. Really similar to last section, except now instead of using a proportion, you're using an equation. Okay. So let's take a look at a few of these examples and see how they go. Example 1 says finding a part of a number. So I'm going to be looking for the part. It says, what number is 24% of 500? Okay, so I'm going to use my equation. I'm going to write that down right away. Part equals percent times whole. All right, and I'm looking for the part. It says what number is. Remember, when you see is there, that's referring to the part. So I'm looking for that. A equals my percent, I know, is 24%. And a good reminder here, it says remember to convert a percent to a fraction or a decimal when using the percent equation. For example, write 24% as 24 over 100. Okay, so you can write it right like that, or you could also remember to make any percent into decimal, you just have to move the decimal 2 to the left. So that's the same thing as 0.24. You could use either one of those if you want. Okay, so I have A equals percent, which is 24, times my whole. Well, remember the word of next to your number is a good hint that that's your whole. So my total is 50. So I'm looking for what's 24% of 50. And a couple different ways to do this. I could say 24 over 100 times 50 over 1. Well, I'm just going to simplify. This would simplify 50 divided by 50 is 1, and 100 divided by 50 is 2. And then when I multiply across, I have 24 over 2, which 24 divided by 2 is 12. So my A is equal to 12. The part is 12. Now, I could also say you don't like working with fractions, you like working with decimals instead. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to show you that you could do that as well. You could say A equals, instead of 24 over 100, you could write it as 0.24 times 50. All right, well, let's see what that would look like. 50 times 0.24, or 24 hundredths. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 would be 20. Placeholder, 2 times 0 is 0, and 2 times 5 is 10. Add 0 and 0 is 0, 0 and 0 is 0, 2 plus 0 is 2, and 1 plus 0 is 1. And in the end, I need to move my decimal 2 spots, so 1, 2, 12.00, which is the same as 12. Okay, so your part is 12. Now let's see, does that make sense? Well, if my part was 12 and my total was 50, That's like saying, or my whole is 50. You got 12 out of 50 on an assignment, and you wanted to know your percent. Well, remember, any percent's out of 100. So multiply by 2, multiply by 2, 24 out of 100 is the same as 24%, right? Which is exactly what I started with. All right, go ahead and pause now to try the 2 try problems here. It says write and solve an equation to answer the question. All right, for number 1, it says what is 10% of 20? Little mental math trick here. Anytime you have 10%, you just move your decimal one place to the left. But I'll show you the way to write an equation as well too. But like if you're looking for 10% of, let's say 50, you just have to move your decimal one spot to the left, which would equal 5. 10% of 100, move your decimal one to the left, it would be 10. So 10% of 20 is going to be 2. Just move your decimal one to the left. Now, how would that look if I use my equation? Part equals percent times whole. Okay, my part I'm looking for, my percent is 10%, and I'm going to write that as a fraction or decimal. So I'm going to write 0.10 times 20. Okay, so if you took 20 times 0.10, 0, 0, placeholder 0 and 2, and add, and move my decimal 2 places in the end to get 2. Okay, does that make sense? If you got 2 out of 20 on an assignment, that's the same as multiply by 5 to get to 100, multiply by 5 to get to 10. 10 out of 100 is, 10%. And for the next one, 150% of 40. So for this one, I would take my percent, put it as a decimal. So 2 spots to the left would be 1.5 times 40 times my whole. Well, I know that 1 times 40 is 40, plus half of 40 is 20. So 40 plus 20 would give me a total of 60. Okay, let me know if you have questions on either one of those. And the next example, we'll find a percent. So it says 9.5 is, remember, is that keyword, corresponds with the part. So 9.5 is what percent? So I'm looking for my percent, which stands for, the abbreviation is P in my equation, of 90. So times, of 25. So times 25. All right, 9.5 equals P times 25. Remember, back when we talked about solving equations, if I want to isolate or find out what P is, I need to undo what's ever being done to it. So this is the same thing as 9.5 equals 25P. So I would just divide by 25 on both sides. Okay. 25 divided by 25 is 1P. And then I have to take 9.5 and divide it by 25. How many times does 25 go into 9? 0 times. Bring my decimal straight up. How many times does 25 go into 95? Well, that would be 3 times, because 3 times 25 is 75. Subtract, I would get 20, and I need to bring down another imaginary 0. I know 25 goes into 100 4 times, so it goes into 200 8 times, and that would be 200. Okay, so 0.38 would give me 38% for my answer. Okay, go ahead and try to find a percent for 3 and 4 here on your own. All right, we'll Hopefully you had enough time to check those out. It says 3 is, so 3 is my part. What percent of 600? So times 600. Okay, so to undo dividing by, or multiplying by 600, I divide by 600 on both sides. So I have 3 divided by 600. Okay, how many times does 600 go into 3? 0 times. How many times does 600 go into 300? 0 times. Another imaginary 0. How many times does 600 go into 300? 0 times. Another 0. How many times does 600 go into 3,000? Okay, here we go. 5 times. Okay. All right. Now, where's my decimal? Right there, because it was 600 divided by 3. And then to make this up into a percent, this would give me 0.5%. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to let you guys use your calculator on a test or not, but hopefully you're getting better at longhand. Let me know if you have questions on that one. Number 4 says 18 is what percent of 200? So 18 is, or sorry, 20. What percent of 20? So I would divide by 20 on both sides. And 18 divided by 20. Well, the other thing you can do is you can try to get to 100 by multiplying by 5, which would give you 90 over 100, which gives you 90%. And again, I would definitely encourage you guys to double check these. So, grab your handy dandy calculator. If you want to check the first one, 3 divided by 600. Move your decimal 2 to the right, 1, 2, so 0.5%. That's the same thing we get. Okay, so don't be afraid to double check. Example 3, now we find the whole. So we have 39 is, so 39 is my part. So part equals percent, so 52% is the same as 0.52 times the whole. And then I just need to divide by 0.52 on both sides. Divide by 0.52, and I will solve for W. So I have 39 divided by 0.52. I need to make my divisor a whole number. So I move it 2 spots, and I need to move this decimal 2 spots. So it's the same as 3,900 divided by 52. Okay. 52 goes into 39, 0 times, bring up my decimal. 52 goes into 390. Let's see how many times. I think 7. And 7 times 52 would give me 364. And when I subtract those, I would come up with, let's see, 6 to borrow, so that'd be 26. And bring down my 0. And 52 goes into 260. Let's see, 5 times. If you round this to 50, 50 goes into 255 times, and it's exact. 5 times 52 is 260. So 0.75. Or sorry, there should be no decimal there. I goofed up there. So I get the whole is equal to 75. Right? Let's just double check that. If I were to take 39 and divide it by 0.52. Yep, 75 is my whole. Okay. And you can always double check that again, right? If you were to take 39 divided by 75, that should give you 0.52 or 52%, what we started with. All right, pause for 5 and 6. Okay, just for time's sake here, I'm going to give you the answer. 8 is 80% of what number? So your equation at least should look like this. 8 equals 0.80 times whole. And then you divide by 0.80 on both sides. And you should come up with 10. Because 8 over 10 is 80%. And for this one, 9 is equal to 1.8 times W. And then if you divide by 1.8, W is equal to, 50. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is 90. I was like, oh, 50, that's a lot. Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay, so you should get 10 and 50 for your wholes there. All right, last example. I use this example a lot because when I was working as a waiter and a bartender, we'd often have this. I worked at the pickle factory in Pepin. You have this a lot where you're giving these bills to people and you want to know what percent you should make on tips, and people want to know what percent they should tip a server or a bartender or anything like that. So this is definitely valuable and something you'll see someday. You are paying for lunch and receive this bill. So here's your food total, here's your tax, and then here's your subtotal. So your subtotal is your tax plus your total. Find the percent of sales tax on the food total. Okay, so again, we're looking for find the percent. So we know our part, we know our whole. Our whole is going to be our total. Our part would be the tax. So part 165 equals our percent, which we're looking for, times our whole. We know the total was $27.50. Okay, so to solve for P, I would divide by 2750 on both sides to undo this multiplying. So divide by 2750. Okay, I have 165 divided by 2750 gives me 0.06. Move my decimal 2 to the right. That would give me 6%. And that is very normal, especially here in Wisconsin. Sales tax I think is like 5.5%. So this is really reasonable. Letter B says you leave a 16% tip on the food total. So we see that our food total is $27.50. You tip 16% of that to your server. Find the total amount you pay for lunch. Okay, so we've got part equals, so we're going to look for the part then. The part would be how much our tip is. We know it's 16%, so 0.16 times the food total was $27.50. $27.50. Okay, so if I multiply 0.16 times 27.50, the tip that I will give is $4.40. So the tip then is $4.40. So I can add that in right here, $4.40. What will be my total? Okay, so now I need to take my food total, $27.50, plus my tax, which is 165, plus 440, which is the tip, to find out the total amount that I actually need to pay on my bill. So 440 plus the 2750 for the total, plus the tax of 165 gives me a total of $33.55. So $33.55. Very valuable to be able to do this. We'll get some more practice with these types. But if you go into the restaurant industry at all, which I would highly recommend as a college kid trying to make it through college, I made a lot of money in the summers, even if it's a part-time gig for you. Maybe even in high school. I know some high school students start out as servers. Really good money can be made, but very, very common to deal with percent problems in the food industry and the restaurant industry. All right, that's all I have for today. If you guys have questions, let me know. Again, the percent equation is very similar to the percent proportion. It just gives you another way to find the part or the percent or the whole. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you guys later.